Hello everyone, welcome back. Time for our weekly chart review. It is now Saturday, May 14th. Love to do these while the market is closed so that we can get a good grasp on where things are and where they're going. So let's hop to it. We're going to start with Forex first, and as I've been doing for the past several weeks, we'll do Forex and stocks separately. So let's just dive right in. Aud Cad is what I'm currently on, and judging on the daily time frame, we are, we just kind of hit very close to this previous support zone that we were at right here in January. We haven't been that low since April of 2020. Right, as you can see that COVID was the big spike, when everything closed down in March, that's where it spiked way below that. But previously, before that area, it was kind of hanging out around that area all as well. So unless we have any sort of crazy news that comes out, I'm kind of expecting the same thing to happen. We might hover around this area for a little bit. So I'll switch it over to the 4-hour. We can kind of zoom in on this area. Okay. And again, any trade that I set up, I really like to wait for an EMA switch at least on the 1-hour. When it's done on the 4-hour, it's a little bit better, but that's more of an intention on taking a longer term trade, right? The 1-hour is something that I would take a swing for maybe a few days. So I would say that the position would be pretty reasonable around here. And since we've been making higher highs, in April, and now it's at the end of May, so it's been a month of going down. I would say if you set reasonable TPs, one right here, another one right here, kind of to where you see peaks coming into play, and then the third one would be, here, potentially here, and then finally to break the previous one. So 5 potential chances to get out. It's a very deep stop loss in my opinion. I wouldn't really want to do 121 pips. Something around this one, I would say maybe along the lines of 50, right? So it's still a very good 12 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And this is assuming that we're going to bounce right off. But if this does end up going deeper, then this is what I'm going to wait for an EMA switch on, right? Like this is a very strong support zone. I don't foresee us going too far below that. So, by the way, when I say we or us or anything like that, I'm just, this is how I talk. It's more reference to the trading group that I'm a part of, right? So I say we because we analyze after this is all done in tandem. So yeah, don't mind me when I say anything like that. Remember, as a disclaimer, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinions and ideas, all for educational purposes only. If you end up making money off it, great, but don't take this as gospel. All right. Anyway, those are my ideas for this particular pair. Moving on to Aud Chf. This has been really bouncy. Although, as you can see with the previous idea, it's been working out pretty well. So I'm just going to stretch this over. Bounced off that area twice. So it's a very good sign that this does want to go lower. Although Aud Cad, I'm expecting a bounce going up, and Aud Chf, it's showing that it wants to go down. But sort of not really, right? I mean, if we do a ray, from highest to next highest, and then another one, lowest to next lowest, you can kind of see that it's slowly coming up. So maybe this trade idea, I would invalidate it. Worth a shot if it comes back to here and bounces off, but it doesn't really seem like it wants to go much deeper. So I'm going to raise this, potentially a 3 to 1 if it's still valid. right? Like that's I don't really see this going much further, judging on the previous pair that we're looking at, right? In Aud Chf, there's been 2 opportunities already, maybe to snag a 4-to-1, right? Just like it went all the way there twice from entry, so would have been pretty decent. But I would say this one's over right now. If it comes back to the entry line, I'm not entirely convinced that it's going to be coming right back down. So Aud Jpy, really hard move on Friday, as we saw 1.97% upwards. So that's pretty good. It seems to be drawn to this particular area. I'm going to delete that. It's not valid anymore. Go away. All right. So yeah, I think we went as deep as it's going to go. And if we want to double check that, right, what's the best thing to do? Draw basic Fibonacci. So here is the highest or the lowest low point from there. So it kind of hit that golden zone, right at the 50% around between these two. And now it's starting to head up. So very good indication when there is an EMA switch that this is going to be a good entry. And judging where this candle closed, where the next one opens, that's going to be an EMA switch. So very strong potential trade right off the get-go when markets open. I would set it to first TP, 294 pips to snag, and just to the bottom of this wick, just a little bit below it, so 51 pips, 5.7 to 1 risk reward. Pretty decent to take a look at, but yes, on the 4-hour, it would definitely be a good idea. On the 1-hour, it's already switched, right? So it's really dependent on the kind of risk that you're willing to take, right? I would say that this is what I would do in my particular situation. Like to play it off the 4-hour. Off the 1-hour, you already see the yellow and the red crossing the ping. That's a very good sign, right? As you saw here, it came close, right? It crossed a little bit and bounced right back down. So that's why I'm saying on the 4-hour, it would be a little bit more crucial to see something like that happen, because there was no switch here on the 4-hour. It actually ended up doing this beautiful candle pattern that we all know and love, all right? And it kept dropping. So good indication right here on the 4-hour. Once that switch actually happens, it could even happen up here or up here, but there's no sense in risking an early entry, right? And this is first TP. It has the potential to go even to here or perhaps higher depending on momentum, right? But once it comes close to first TP and the EMAs are hard pressed going up, there's no sense in locking it in right there. Moving it up would probably be beneficial. But again, remember that risk tolerance, so once it comes up and it's showing that it's either stagnating or starting to drop, that's the time where I would pull out of a trade. There's no sense in staying in there hoping that it's going to go higher, right? Lock in your pips. Don't feel bad that, don't get that, oh, I missed out on more. You locked in what you locked in, right? That's the important thing. So I'm going to leave that there. That is my trade idea for Aud Jpy. Aud NZD kind of happened, but again, I always say EMA switch, right? So let's take a look at the 1-hour. And let's see, goes down, EMA switched. Oh geez, this is kind of terribly in the way. Well, I'm just going to shrink it down so it's not exactly in the center. There we go. EMA switched right here, so that would have been the smart entry zone for this, and it hit TP. Kind of clobbered it on the final day, right? So great sign there. Whoops, I don't want to move that. Okay, so 130 pips is what I was expecting to grab off this. It did significantly more, right? So best thing that I was saying right here, off the 1-hour, if it's stagnating, right, it's pretty much done. But at the same time, it crossed this support resistance line that we've seen before, and it was kind of bouncing off that, and it never was really You know, EMAs weren't really crossing back over the pink. So at that point in time, it's really personal preference if you want to take it deeper, right? But I'll just move this over because, yes, this was a successful trade. Entry would have been, like I said, here, right? EMA switch, up it goes. So that's a 10-to-1 risk to reward. Very nice way to go. Okay, so that was a successful trade. Yeah, again, best case scenario, right? Like it was bouncing off here. Like I was saying, early exit is that, but on the 4-hour, it really didn't cross again. It only crossed way up here, right? So longer term trade, I'm looking at the 4-hour timeline. Entry probably on the 1-hour, just so I can solidify a little bit better. But like I said, I was saying on Aud Chf, right? That or no, Aud Jpy, sorry, that I'd be looking for an entry off the 4-hour. And the reason, right, the biggest reason why I'd be looking on the 4-hour here is because for the last month, it had a very stable move down. For a month, yeah, I mean for 3 weeks, almost a month, right? Pretty strong move downwards, whereas Aud Cad kept going down, right? So if we're taking a look at Aud NZD, it's kind of hopping around all over the place, right? AUD was the stronger of the two. So it really depends on what the currency is matched with, right? So it really does depend strongly on that. So anyway, this is gone, done, you know, over with, pretty much cleaned up week ago, week and a bit, right? But I didn't really call that out. I didn't think it was going to go up like that, and I left it alone, right? That's why I didn't really move it around, but it crossed exactly as planned. You know, this wasn't a trade I actually took, but, you know, it worked out pretty well. Even if it was the 120 pips, right? 5.5 to 1. One way or another, it was still a good trade. Aud USD. So this bad boy, very nice TP snag right there. This didn't go exactly as planned, but man, imagine staying longer in this guy. Like this just crushed it, right? One good sign on the 4-hour. Like again, once it hit this area and we started coming up here, that's probably exit territory, right? You see a strong, you see an EMA cross here, but it didn't really amount to anything, and then it dropped harder. I didn't really see it going that deep. That's why I would have been out of the position where you saw the take profit before. But right now, like what's drawing it to that area? Probably the volume around here, right? But that is a long time ago. But we see it being brought back to that specific area. So if we draw, you know, volume around the consolidation, we'll see the little red line, and that's kind of top of the red and green candles right there. So it seems to be that it was drawn to that specific area and it's bouncing right back. Strange how that goes, but it is what it is. So yeah, very nice move off AUD USD. Kept going, like I said, much lower than expected. But good sign if that position wasn't exited. If anybody was able to stay in this position, snagged a 33 to 1 risk to reward ratio, I mean, that's a round of applause right there. That's for damn sure. Yeah, unfortunately not me, right? I exited much sooner when the first TP hit around like the 230 mark. So gone and done, but kept moving along. So lesson learned. You know, if maybe my exit would have been, you know, I wouldn't want to risk losing if I was still in the trade. Where would it have been? Like 230 pips almost, right? Where it bounced up. But if you're going long term and you're really looking at the EMA switch and shifts, right? The white kept going. The pink was still very strong. going down, and only started moving up here with this giant candle. But that was only when United States rates increased, right? And that was the short-term effect of it, and then it dropped the following day. So one way to utilize news in your favor is understanding that when interest rates increase, it may have a negative effect against that currency in the short term, but in the long term, it'll strengthen it, right? So as you see, short-term effect, it bounced right up, and then long-term effect all the way down. So this could potentially go even lower. But again, we'll see how it runs. This is a position I'm not in any longer. Too bad. 33 to 1 is incredible. Bitcoin, man, what is going on with this guy, right? Just nuts over the last few days. So it dropped far lower than expected. These are invalid now. It dropped all the way to here and kind of wicked right off. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line and see what the play is right now off Bitcoin, off the daily time frame. So if we're taking, oh, that's too compressed. If we're taking a look, right, we see right here on the daily candle, this is a giant doji that formed. So where it opened and closed was the exact same price. It just decided to drop all the way to 25,300. And the last time it was at that price is right here. Now, what's pulling it down that low? I have no clue. Honestly, this is nothing. There's no information here to be able to judge if there's any institutional plays or whatnot. Judging from where these candles were closing off and opening, right? We'll draw another white line just to see that in play, because as you see, close, doji, and then it opened, and you know it's kind of hovering around this area. Maybe it'll go lower, but right now that's playing off a whole bunch of wicks right here and here on this area, right? Those candle closes. The fact that the wick went lower means that there is a strong potential for Bitcoin to drop even further. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but as you see before, right? Wick plays, it all kind of went off that zone where these candles have been closing and opening over the last several days, right? Only the wick touched right here, and there's nothing significant of note for it to bring it down that low. Right, the only thing we would be able to judge it on, let's switch to the weekly time frame so it's a little bit more compressed. All right, too much. Okay, the only other thing that I would see doing as far as a repetitive move would be if we do a climb in kind of the long term. I would say we probably hit these two gap lines, and it'll be a very similar move from 2018, you know, end of 2017, 2018, all the way to mid 2019, right, where we saw a little bit of a peak. So what's the favorite tool to use? Let's draw a fib, right? Peak to bottom, right there, and you see it bounced right off the 618 long term. So if we do something similar, okay, let's say for argument's sake this is the bottom, right, because that's our current bottom right now. From peak to bottom, it's a very strong positive. Yeah, so as you see, right, the 618 is just above these two gaps that need to be filled. So I would say, judging on how this this peak happened and the climb is slowly, it's not done. Like it just kind of trickled down even further. So as this is showing, it could potentially just wick off like it did right there, and then bounce around that zone, and then drop for a couple of months, and then up it goes, right? So as you saw here, where that wick dropped, it hovered for several weeks, right? So each one of these is a week, so we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 weeks hovered around that price range. So if that's an indicator for us, let's pretend that this is a similar situation that we had here, right, in 2017, wicked right off. So we could be seeing something like this happen. Kind of goes up, down, kind of like this nonsense, you know, and the hovers around that price, and then maybe one more drop like that, and then slowly starts to climb to this area before, you know, taking it lower once again, but not as low, and then new highs. Right? Entirely possible. We could be seeing something like that happen. Just because of what we saw in the past. Right? There is, you know what? Let's. I know this price is going to be almost worthless. Oops, didn't mean to do that. It's going to be nearly worthless. But if we take a look at Bitcoin, kind of when it was in its inception, right, very early. Unfortunately, Coinbase, 2015 is the earliest that I got. So what I'm going to do is jump on another Bitcoin. Let's go on the Binance chart. Let's see how deep that goes. 2020. Nope, not at all. This one. Okay, that's got a little bit more information. All right, so let's check it out. All right, from 2011. So that's about right. Oh my gosh, look at this. What a crazy move. So spike up at 2013. And what did it hit? Let's see. So from high to low. Holy bananas. 618. Right? Same sort of thing. It hit a peak. It whittled down for several years. Hit the 618. Dropped a little bit and then continued upwards. All right, and that was the first time that it spiked up like this. The second time, right, we just drew that up. From its high to its low, 618 area. Okay, now what's happening? No, from its high to its low, 618 area will be right there. So yeah, judging by its past, it did these moves twice already. What's to say it won't happen a third time? Just depends on how low this one's going to go. So the best way to do that is let's really zoom in on this one again on the weekly. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's see what kind of information we can grab from here. So if we take a Fibonacci trend-based fib extension, right? So let's drop it right here. We had the first peak, and then a low, and then another peak. That doesn't really give us much info, right? So let's try another point. Peak to low to next peak. Nope, that's not the information we want. We want low, high, low. So let's see. Low to high to low. I mean, sort of. It kind of bounced off that area, but doesn't really give us the information that we're looking for. All right, so let's get rid of that guy, and let's do my favorite one. Let's go with a fib channel. All right, so we got, we really have to embellish this one a little bit. I would say what I'm going to do is connect the highs and then the lowest point in between, right? So I'll just delete this guy, and fib channel from here, which was the highest, the highest point in this time zone, and then right here, and then the lowest point in between them would have been here, somewhere around there. You know what? I'll click it right there. I'm pretty sure it's relatively close. There we go. I'll just kind of, yeah, there we go. It was around that area, so we'll just draw it right there. Just so these lines could be a little bit more extended, but for the sake of, because it's not going to read any further out, right? So I know for this one, I'm just going to go to this point right here and see what these lines tell me as we move forward in the future, right? So as we bounce off, look at unreal, right? What a fantastic little bounce right there. Okay, let's see further on ahead. Yeah, it's unfortunately too high to skew that. You know what? I'm going to draw it from the more recent ones, right? So this high in 2017 to this high in April 2021, and then the low right here, March of 2020. So let's see where we're sitting at right now. Okay. That's the weekly. So we're going to switch that up to the daily now. And get rid of this fib extension. Let's see the kind of information it's giving us on the daily. Okay. So that's where we drew the point. Perfect. You know, we had a lot of consolidation around the white there. Kind of dropped in above it, dropped right through these fib lines, and then interesting. Okay. So what I'm seeing right now, the possibility we could drop to this yellow here to hover around that 22,000 mark, and I think that's going to be as low as we go. Let's draw that trend-based fib extension once more from this low to this high to this low. Oh, that gives us too high of a number. Let's go high, low, high. Yeah, so this is showing us it's in reverse territory for it to bounce up. Now if we go from here to here to here, kind of shows us a potential target for it to climb up. But yeah, hard to say really right now as far as to where it's going to go. I would say that you know what I previously said about that zone with that regular Fibonacci drawn, right, based on the past 2 cycles that we've experienced, maybe around 2024, right? Is that when it will be 20? Yeah, 2024. That's when it'll start cycling and reducing. What is it, by half? I don't exactly remember how that stuff works, but anyway, I would say kind of short-ish term goal, like maybe within the next year, we're going to see it come up to maybe 50, between 50 and 53,000, and then a slow trickle downwards again, and then new highs in a few years. So yeah, it's going to be a painful few years for anybody that grabbed cryptocurrency around the 65, 66,000 mark. Sorry guys, that's ouch. You know, wish I had better news, but hey, you know what? When it comes to leverage trades, good chance to take some lows, right? Anyway, Cad Chf, we're going to switch that up a little bit. This completely went the opposite way from what I was expecting. So what's the best thing to do? Delete this and go back to the drawing board. Yeah, it kind of looks like junk right now, to be honest. I was hoping that it would play off with the trend, as you saw, kind of slowly going down, but this broke trend. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I don't see that a potential trade happening. Cad Jpy. So on the fib, on the long-term fib, right, where do we draw this on a weekly? Yes. So as we see this happen, what a crazy bounce. It went right off that 88.6 from that long-term move from December 2014. Wow. All right. Definitely a lot higher than I was expecting right here at the 618. But it seems to bounce right off that 886, and now we're hovering in between those 2 points. That's on the weekly. Let's see on the daily what we're seeing right now. So we saw an EMA shift on the daily. We saw a huge reversal on Friday, which, to be honest, it's not the worst thing to see, right? Which would give us kind of a short-term target of an entry somewhere in this zone. So let's analyze. Okay, we had a high here, and then it didn't hit previous highs going right there. So, you know, short-term fib, we're looking at bang, bang, you know, 886, 786, around that area. That's where it hits. So let's draw the same thing. A fib going from here to the previous low. You know, could be assuming that we're going to be hitting this area for a sell. So in order to do that, let's grab it somewhere in the middle there, right? But as you see, right, 107 pip stop loss is going to be pretty big. So I would just do it slightly above these wicks right there, and perhaps entry a little bit higher. But target would be slightly below that. But right now, let's do it right at the tips of these wicks, kind of right there, 400 pips approximately. All right, so 6.89, almost a 7-to-1 risk to reward ratio, pretty solid. I would say waiting for it to come up here, so let's set an alert. I'm going to set it right here just so I'm alert a little earlier in case there's an EMA shift. Closing in on sell territory. Did I spell that right? Yeah, sure. Reset alerts. Too many R's. Territory. All right, create alert. Okay, so once it pops over there, I'll get alerted because I'm going to be looking for an EMA switch on the 1 hour around this area, right, between the 786 and the 886. All right, so we'll keep that one green. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's not making new highs over the last few weeks. On track. And again, if there's no EMA shift going down, there's no trade to be taken. Chf Jpy, I'm going to try to run through these a little bit quicker. Okay. Chf Jpy, this didn't play out as expected. Bouncing off that fib channel, as you can see right now. Look at that, right? Like the purple was a resistance before, and now it's almost a support. Right? So that's a pretty good sign that this wants to continue going up. Chf Jpy, as we saw with Cad Jpy, right? In the short term, definitely possible for this to climb higher. Like what we're seeing right here, right? We hit the low and we kind of spiked back up, so we have a bit of a climb still to go before entry. Chf Jpy is showing the same sort of pattern. The only difference is Jpy was much stronger over the last few weeks. So now that we hit this resistance or support zone, right, it's entirely possible to snag a trade once the EMA shift around that yellow line. And I would be conservative with my target and set a little bit lower. But yeah, maybe somewhere in between these two with a 60 pip stop loss, so 7.8 to 1 RR would be pretty reasonable. And again, on the 4, I think I would do this one on the 4 hour, just because like on the 1 hour it's already shifted, but it looks like it's hesitating. So I would say on a 4 hour EMA shift would be a pretty solid choice on this one. So I'm just going to set an alert right here. Entering by zone. Reset alerts. All right, and we'll see how that one goes. Let's mark that green. And the dollar is overvalued, right, as it's showing on the MACD histogram. It spiked up insanely right there. So that is in definite reversal territory. And yeah, I mean, it kind of did, but it went right back up. Oh, look, red line, crazy, right? Anyway, moving on. Ethereum's just been dropping like a stone as well. Crazy how it just bounced off that red line, right? Just saying, happened before, happens again. Would have been fantastic to see that long term. I'm still getting a little familiarized with the fib channel, right? It's not a tool that I've grown to use over the last few months. It's something more recent, but I'm liking it more and more after I see all of these trades play out, right? Or even just the pairs themselves. Similar with Bitcoin, I wouldn't be bullish on any cryptocurrency right now. You know, buy the dips, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard that story before. The trouble is that the dips keep dipping. So we need to be able to find the bottom, right? So far, I would say it's around 1,700 for Ethereum. The last time we were around that price was, oh my gosh, look at that. Let's just draw a horizontal line. I want to see how close that comes. So there's our white horizontal line. Wow. Wow. Pretty crazy. I think this is a very hard support zone. So if it comes back to that area, 16 or 1700, very good possibility for a buy. All right, Euro AUD. I'm going to try to run through these a little quicker. I spent too much time on Bitcoin. I apologize for that. Okay, Euro AUD. Looks like we've hit our reversal. This is concerning though because it's a double top and it kind of like watch where it hit off, right? So if we take a look right there, it did not break through this. So this was an institutional sell, it looks like, right? Hard reversal, and especially this one, right? But I wouldn't have thought this one to be the case. But now that it kind of pinned off both areas, we saw AUD kind of getting a little bit stronger. So very good potential because it did not break through this area for it to kind of drop back to its low here. If not, then it's going to do a bit of a flag pattern and just zigzag something like this, until it finally breaks out. But as far as the short term, it kind of moved past any sort of potential trade zones I'd like to take. I wish I could have seen this double top forming a few days ago on the 12th, right? So that would have been great on the Thursday to see that happening. To retest, that would have been a great entry. And if that would have been an entry right off that zone, it's already 268 pips in profit. That would have been really nice. But yeah, I missed it. Was focused on other things this week, unfortunately, or fortunately. For me, it's fortunate, I mean, I need to focus on my own life too. All right, so right now, no entries to take for that, so I'm going to click it off. Euro Cad. Hey, you know what? Was hoping for it to pull back because there was the day gap there, but came very close. But oh my gosh, what's going on here? Same story. It's kind of hitting off that area. Man, I hate how that's... All right, I'll just make it wider. But yeah, look, it is in the beautiful entry zone. This is definitely a 1 hour EMA shift entry. Don't want to miss too much out of that. All right, but as you saw, kind of a quick rejection off this line. We're going, if we do the GAN box off this candle right here on the 1 hour. Wow, right there. What a beautiful entry that would have been. But one way or another, this is a great setup, a good to keep an eye on. We definitely want to see where EuroCAD goes. Judging where I was saying CAD before, CAD on Cad Chf, this has been very bullish. Cad Jpy, this is, short-term bullish, and then it's going to be bearish, I believe. Aud Cad is going to start climbing. Potentially it'll kind of hit this zone and climb higher. So let's say it's entirely possible for this to drop back down, and then, like I said, EMA shift would be the optimal entry. Right now, a 30 pip stop loss is reasonable. Maybe even a 40 just to go below these wicks, but like I said, I'm not taking an entry off this zone. I'm waiting for an EMA shift. So all I'm going to do is set an alert right on this horizontal line and create. I'm not going to put any other notice there. Euro CHF. Yeah, it did not happen as expected. Overall, the trade was great. It was 2 decent entries, and then it kind of gave up on me. It did not go as low as expected. So this red Fibonacci line would have been a good target 1 for a potential 237 pips. And if that wasn't snagged, then where it consolidated all over here would have been the final sign to get out of the trade. So still almost a 5-to-1 ratio. Not too bad. Okay, so Euro CHF is over. I don't see any potential entries right now, but it did fill this gap, right? Look at that. What a nice filler right there. Next potential one is up here, right? But it kind of hit this area and dropped. You know, it's very interesting. Like you can see this yellow line right here, how it hit their resistance, close to resistance. I'm just going to delete this one. We don't need to see anymore. Close to resistance, 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 and then the opposite. You know, now it's a support, right? So it bounced off. This is a pretty good sign for it to want to climb higher. And we're on the 1 hour right now. So if we switch to the 4, it gives us a kind of a clearer picture. Yeah, honestly, this is a very strong potential chance to have it go up and close this gap. How many pips is that going to be? I'll just set it kind of right here. Right to the purple, 25 pip stop loss. 5.7 to 1, that's pretty decent, and that looks like it'll be a trade that lasts maybe 1 or 2 days. Yeah, all right, let's set an alert. Let's see what happens. Entering buy zone. Watch for EMA shift on 4 hour. Reset alert if needed. There we go. Create. So I'll watch that one. Euro GBP. What do we see here? Oh, this is going to be a Fibonacci drawing for sure. Let's do this. Low to low to highest in between. Consolidated right on that line. Now it seems to be dropping. But this is short-term bullish we see on the 4 hour all the way since March. Yeah, it looks like we've reversed. We kind of hit that zone. Now we're going up. We're breaking previous lower highs. Okay, so let's see where we go now. We hit the peak right here, so let's just draw another line. What is that significant of? To zoom in here a little bit on the 4 hour. Right there. No, that's already gone and done. Okay. Well, I guess that's kind of going to be the target if it breaks through 86691 right here where it bounces back up. So yeah, that would be this yellow line. So I would say target is right there, hopefully to go higher. And if it doesn't go higher, then you know it's kind of it. But where would be look for an entry? Potentially off the white right here. Like this move is telling me that you might want to bounce off that area. All right, you know what? That's what I see right now on the short term. Let's just draw it up from here. So I think entry would be good, probably there, going to there, right to the yellow, and stop loss. That's too deep. Yeah, something like that. Let's just slide it over a little bit. Yeah, that would make more sense. To kind of, if it hits that area first. I'm not going to set alerts on it. I'll just keep an eye. Oh, that's a bad idea. Usually if I say that, I forget about it. I'll just set it up here. Entering by zone. Reset alerts for EMA shift. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. Euro Jpy, didn't go as planned, but you know what? Still a potential. What? I guess we'll pull this one down. 415 pips to snag, so yeah, that would have been fantastic. But EMA shifted, so You know, if didn't get out quite at that point, would have been more of 281, still an 11 to 1. You know, so fantastic snag on Euro JPY one way or another. You know, take entries as you need them and exits, but this had 3 potential entries, right? Right here, here, and right there. So probably 2. I think this one, when did I draw this one up? Oh no, I drew that one up prior. But yeah, two definitely strong entries. That wick would have been, you know, skittish, but yeah, still a pretty good trade. You know, worst case scenario 280 pips, base case scenario 415. So trade is gone and done. It bounced off this support line a couple of days ago. Hard to say whether or not this is going to be going lower. Euro is, I think, short-term strong. Yeah, I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm not really too interested. What are the chances it's going to go all the way back up there? Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on it. I'm not really keen on entering that one right now. Euro NZD, similar to Euro AUD, but this is going to be, I don't know, the worst pair. I don't like NZD. Sorry, folks. That's just my personal preference. Kind of around the 618, you know, heading around the golden zone, going to be dropping. Cool. Not interested. Euro USD. Wow. Keeps going further. All right, so get rid of that one. That's gone and done. That's useless. So what do I see here? I'm going to switch it over to the weekly. There might be more information that I can grab. All right. So where we're at right now. Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. So we almost came to the lows of 2016, 2017, right there at that peak. And that's the lowest that we've been since 2002. Wow. Okay, that's a good sign. This means that we're kind of in reversal territory as far as the United States dollar is concerned. If we do break through this, then that's going to be quite unique. We haven't been lower with this particular currency pair in 20 years. Hey, you know what? Just because of that one, I mean, that's a pretty good sign to be able to take a buy. Long term, I mean, how long do I want to be holding this? A year? Not really. Let's switch on time frames. That might be a little bit better. Because on the weekly, it's going to be a little bit much. What do I see here? Maybe off this guy. Might go as high as that institutional move right there. And as far as a stop loss, nice and tight, probably 50, 55, you know, 14 to 1, still very good to grab right here. And that all depends, right? Like United States has been going nuts so when it comes to the rates, interest rates, geez. Brain gets fried at 11 at night. But yeah, so interest rates have been increasing steadily every single time the FOMC goes live. They tell of interest rates increasing anywhere from 0.25 to 0.75. So the higher the rate increase, the harder the move down that this is going to take. So until then, if the euro decides to increase rates heavily, then we'll see this move. Oh, pardon me. Then we'll see this move up to here. Probably it might take a month to climb up there. It's still pretty decent. And keep an eye on that one. Gbp Aud. Almost. My gosh. Right? Almost 2 wins on this one. I think I went over this last week. But man, this almost 3. Like it's been really hanging around this one particular area. right? Dropping even lower. So this is a very good sign. We kind of hit our double bottom, right? And if take a zoom in right here, right? By double bottom, it's always good to see if it actually hit the same spot. So right here, tip of the wick, 1.71744, and this was let's double check, 1.71791. So this was higher by like 6 pips, 5 pips. So very good sign. What does that tell us? Institutional candles. Okay, so this is definitely going to be climbing. As far as entry goes, though, I think potentially missed my chance to get back in this guy. Potentially. Let's see on the 4 hour. No, I don't think I missed my chance. AUD is going to be bullish for next little while, right? Let's see AUD Cad, what I was expecting. Yeah, a draw for maybe a couple more days. So yeah, it's entirely possible that this will drop back to entry, maybe just to wick off it. All right, you know what? That's it's definitely not going to happen within the next few days, but I'll set it up right there. I'm very curious to see if that actually moves the way I'm expecting it to. Because again, we didn't really get that 50% of the institutional here. We almost did it. Right? That's why I was short of like 20 pips. I'll set that one up. I'm interested. Gbp Cad. Look at all these double bottoms. Holy shit balls. Sorry for swearing, folks, but this is very surprising. I haven't seen this sort of thing play out in a very long time. Right? Gbp Cad. What do we have here? We definitely have this area in the wrong place. Oops. Wow. Yeah, look at this play out. Right here, here, close, close. Okay, you know what? I'm going to hit the replay right there, and we'll see if it does on the 1 hour. Holy wicks, Batman. What can we get out of that candle? What's the info? Can we go 30 minutes? Nope, not available. Poop. Oh well. We'll switch that back up to the 4 hour. But yeah, similar play, right, with GBP AUD. Man, this is very interesting. So stop loss, just a little bit below the wicks. And where's the potential climb? Probably even up to here. Like 18, almost a 19 to 1 RR. Remember, kiddos, EMA shift, that's probably the best bet to go here, but I'm going to draw my add alert. Entering by zone. Reset alerts for EMA. Shift on 1 hour. Man, that is crazy. It hasn't been that low in a long time. Very interested. Okay, Gbp Chf. I think I gave this a shot. I don't really want to get in there again. It's too wicky. But, you know, pretty good. 320 pips. Way back then. Yeah, kind of over and done with. But here's the nice thing about that. Remember when I drew these lines way back when? It's really sitting pretty right in between those two. So, shoot, this would have been a fantastic entry a couple of days ago. Man, everything happened on the 12th. I really missed out. Focused on stocks too much. Look how this one would have went. Even super tight stop loss of 20 pips would have been great. And now the target way up here. 20, almost a 24 to 1. Holy bananas. You know, maybe it'll come up to here even to fill that imbalance. Still 11 or 12 to 1. That's really good. You know what? I'm just going to set it, and hopefully it comes close to that line once again. Entering by zone, bottom, of market structure area. Gbp Jpy. Lots of potential setups this coming week. Oh, I like it. What do I see here? Low, high, Fibonacci time. Almost the golden area. Okay, good reversal there. Gbp Jpy. Jpy, we've seen strength. Gbp, I think we're going to be going long-term bullish. Yeah, this is very strong potential trade as well. We're seeing, oh wow, this is almost the exact same setup as, what else, like Cad Jpy? Almost, no, that one switched. Aud Jpy? Yeah, look at that. See where it closed off right there in Gbp Jpy? Similar move, right? Like we're gonna have an EMA switch right at open. Potential long position to go past there. Wow, almost 1,000 pips. So 70, a little tighter than that. 58 pip stop loss, 17 to 1. All right, let's see how this goes at open. Maybe a little bit higher. Very interested. Okay, let's set the alert. In buy zone. I guess that's all I'm going to write because the EMAs would have already shifted. GBP NZD. Now, just for clarity, folks, if you do decide to take any of these ideas, look how many I have in the green, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Don't take 14 trades. I mean, I don't want to stress that enough. You know, if you do 2% on each of these trades, if that's your risk tolerance, you're looking at 28% of your entire account this week. You know, not a great decision to make by any means. You know, I might play it risky and do maybe 4 at a time. There's really no reason why I'd want to do all 14. And the thing is, if I have any JPYs, you know, CHF, CAD, AUD, or GBP, I'm taking the one that I believe has the strongest momentum, right? So I'm going to be looking at global currency strength at that point, which I believe GBP is going to be the strongest out of all of them, which means that this has the strongest potential to actually continue on with this move, right? Again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the only viable option. It's just what I prefer and what I see in the short term. So keep in mind, right, any similar currency pairs, anything ending in JPY, don't take every single currency position. Anything ending in USD, don't take every single potential position, like AUD USD, Euro USD, GBP USD, right? Too many variables and too many things that can happen, right? So it's best off deciding which to jump into, if any. All right, GBP NZD, not interested. GBP USD kept going down. Let's see how far. Right off that wick. Let's switch it to the daily. When was the last time you were here? March and May. Potential reversal zone. Actually, if we take a look right there, that's where it's kind of hitting off of, then it resisted. And right now what we saw happen is it wicked off there twice. So very strong possibility that is bottom of market structure short term, which means potential long entry. 2222. Right, 115 pips, but again, I think this will probably be the biggest long-term move. Yeah, 2,000 pips. Good luck me. Yeah, I'm not gonna set alerts for it. Let's just see if it actually plays out. It'd be kind of funny to see. And yeah, that's gonna be over a very long period of time, not in the short term. Absolutely not. NZD Cad. Cad's been crushing it, but it kind of bounced off this area, right, off the daily. And what's that area? The COVID shutdown time. Yeah, wow. This has been a very unique week. Everything's kind of been hitting that same spot. I don't want to be too optimistic, but it seems that there's going to be a lot of chances to be able to snag market bottoms here. I'm not going to draw that one up, but just the white line. Let's see how it goes. This one I'm going to redo to there, and the high point is here. All right, we'll see how that plays off as well. Not really interested in the pair. NZD Jpy. Oh, bounce right off that white EMA. Very nice. Okay, on the daily, what's the 4-hour look like? You know, when it comes to smaller time frames, these larger EMAs, the 610 and the 987, are very useful indeed, right? So as you see, it kind of went right below that and right back up. On the 4-hour, what's the 6-hour look like? Interesting. What to think? I mean, the only other thing is Fibonacci retracement, right? So even if we take it from the low to the high, what do we see? 618. Again, lots of things been happening on the 12th, which was Thursday. That might be the reversal day, judging from what I see here. Okay. Not interested in the pair, but very good to see. NZD USD, wow, this would have been fantastic. Just crush. Look at that. And then when we bounced off that 6-hour right off the black EMA, I'm going to start using a 6-hour. This time frame is very intriguing. 4-hour, what's that look like? Hovered around that zone too and kept going. Again, the lows, let's see what that's hitting off of on the daily. Last time it was below that area was COVID lockdown, and prior to that, October 2019. And it wicked August 2015. And then, yeah, it was housing market crash, kind of a given. I mean, interesting though how, well, not really interesting. We know U.S. increased their rates like crazy during all this time to get out of the recession. So, yeah, I mean, we're kind of headed back to those zones. Very interesting. Could go a lot deeper. Huh. Okay. USD Cad. This was very nice. Kept going though too. Like I didn't project this to go as high as it actually did. But I mean, if anybody held on to 500 pips, 19-to-1 ratio, almost 20-to-1, fantastic. USD Chf, just bonkers the climb. I missed out on snagging it at the right spot, which would have been right here in March. Where did we draw it? Yeah, March 31st would have been the best time to grab this. You know what? Let's load a chart layout. Do I still have March 30th? I do not. Poop. I think I deleted it. Well, there's the chart reviews on the YouTube channel that are on March 30th still, so I'm curious to see what I said around that time frame. April would have been the April 2nd review. Yeah. I'm going to check that out after this, actually. See what I said about it, kind of touching that area. USD Jpy. Yeah, like I was expecting a bit of a short-term pullback somewhere here, but it kept going higher. Silver, not really too interested in silver. But you know what? I'll do up gold. Let's see what gold looks like now. All right, so on the daily, what have we here? Long-term double top. Look at this. Pow. And August of 2020, and now March of 2022. Okay. How low is it going to be able to drop? Let's see. So, yeah, since 2019, it kind of went up like crazy. You know what? Switch over to the weekly. Let's see if we can snag any kind of pattern ideas. All right. Oh, 2007, 2006 is all I got. Okay. So not really. We have a cup and handle that's been forming for years. Okay, so let's take a look. As far as I see here, this is a good potential for a drop. So top of market structure is there. Bottom market structure is here. I don't see it going that low based on where prices are at. Inflation, like gold's always a hedge against it. But we'll draw a line right here, getting all the pins off the weekly, right? We'll see what happens that on the daily. But those pins are just pinning off of volume around this area, right? Like pretty damn close. So let's zoom in on this. It's going to be our current market structure over the last 2.5 years. So switch over to the daily. And what do we see? You know, good separation of all EMA lines overall, especially started kind of back in 2019. You know, they were all compressed, and then a good spread ever since. Now, the white EMA has been kind of the center focus right now, but we've seen it bounced off the brown before, and for good reason, right? Like that was turning into a support zone. So if it crosses this area, this is kind of the potential area that I can see this coming towards, right there. Either going back up to that area or possibly a little bit higher. But let's go in the center here because it could drop further down, right? I just see a short-term rejection off here. This is a very strong candle pattern that I see. Let's grab it on the 6 hour actually, right? Doesn't really indicate anything besides a fractal. What's on the 4 hour? Yeah, this is really just a slow move down, a bit of an imbalance right here, so I'll increase the goal. But yeah, as far as EMAs on a smaller time frame, it's all kind of pointing down. Daily is still somewhat bullish. You know what? I'll tighten this up even more. And how much more? Yeah, 1,000. No, that's gonna be crazy. 2,000 pips. Gold is a bit of a different animal. But yeah, if I'd be looking more on the 4 hour time frame right here. If this kind of hits that area and does an EMA switch, 1 hour for gold, it's a little bit tight. Like as you see all those bounces, right? It really does move quite a bit. So 4 hour EMA shift on gold would be more reasonable. And these would be the zones of entry. 1758, not too bad. You know, short term move up to about 2,000-ish. 13 to 1. Yeah, interested to see how this plays out. I'm not going to take a trade on gold, but you know, I hope it helps anyone out there. Wink, wink. XTI USD, so oil. What are we looking at for oil right now? So structure has kind of formed. We're rejecting slightly higher off that brown line, right? Now that brown line became the white line on a higher time frame. What's on the daily? Pink line. What's on the 1 hour? Almost horizontal. Yeah, okay. So this tells me to kind of look for an entry around that area. Let's see fib retracement, you know, from tip to tip. So between 786 and 886. And then, man, click, please. Thank you. 786, 886. You know, so let's see the potential move that this has. This one. Oh, not that way. This way. Oops, what am I doing? I meant to go the other direction, like this. There we go. Yeah, so potential target is around here, right? And dropping back down. So let's say that is the potential target. We go from low to high. You know, so once we hit that area, we're looking for a retracement around this based on what we've seen in the past. So I would say, oh, and kind of lines up with the candle patterns perfectly. So oil would actually be a very good entry around there. Nice tight stop loss at around 1,000 pips. And then potentially going up to there. So that's 12,000 pip gain potentially. I might take that when the time comes. That looks really good to me. Oh, hang on a second. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Hits this area, and it will go higher, actually, wouldn't it? Yes. Oh, okay. Hang on a second. So first things first. That once it hits this area, I'd probably write it down, right? Judging on when that's going to be, and you know, tight stop loss around 1,900, maybe even, and going down to that area first before writing it higher. Yeah, this is a potential double play right there, right? If we seen the previous structure and how it's going, this is very possible that is going to happen. Even if we draw the fib channel, right, there to there to there, you can see that playing out. Okay, just gonna leave that there. All right, I'll do NASDAQ and US 30 on the chart review. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me this session. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to the channel, like the videos. Yeah, you know what to do. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next run.